Welcome to Wasatch Weekends for this Sunday, October 29th edition. I'm your host, Ben Roof. On today's show, we've got two incredible local nonprofits stopping by to tell us about the work they're doing to help support community health. But before we get started, a quick local announcement. It is time for the Halloween event at Park City, and that is going to be Tuesday, October 31st, hosted by the Historic Park City Alliance. Dogs are more than welcome on both Park City and High Valley Transit for the day of Halloween. And that is because the traffic patterns downtown are going to be changing from 2:30 to 6:30 p.m. on both Main Street and Heber Avenue. There will be no on-street parking and no vehicles allowed for that time period. The same is true for Main Street to 9th Street. There is going to be no parking and no vehicles. But Sweet Alley is still going to be allowing traffic, though that traffic is going to be northbound only. If you need more information about the traffic changes or the rules or regulations for taking your dogs on the transit system for Halloween, be sure to check out parkcitytransit.org. Now let's take a quick look at the weather before we get on with Sunday's show.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Welcome back to the show. We are now joined by Diane Bernhard, the Executive Director of Hope Alliance, which is an organization helping to provide vision care to underserved communities in Utah and all over the world. Welcome to the show, Diane.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. So why don't you fill us in a little bit about what the Hope Alliance is and what you guys do?
The Hope Alliance is a nonprofit organization that was founded in Park City 25 years ago-ish in 1999. Originally established to serve international communities in the areas of medical, dental, vision, and also in basic needs such as water and sewage. Over the years, we've changed our focus, pun intended, to provide primarily vision care, and not only internationally, but also closer to home in Summit and Wasatch counties, Park City, also in southern Utah, in Moab, serving 4 southeastern counties.
That's fantastic. So let me ask you about how did you guys end up kind of shifting that goal, shifting that vision a little bit from kind of a comprehensive health focus to really drilling down into vision more specifically?
What we were observing in the field is that vision care served as a threshold to being able to better care for your own community. If you can't see, it's really difficult to earn a living. Sometimes if you have a family member who is not unable to see, it takes out another family member to care for the person who might be profoundly affected. So we began modifying our focus toward vision care. And not coincidentally, in 2019, the World Health Organization did its first ever World Vision Report, and what they reported is that due to lack of care in many underserved countries, and also due to the fact that in developed countries, people are constantly looking at devices at this distance, and they're becoming very myopic. So they've declared it a world vision crisis, and Hope Alliance wants to participate in trying to help solve that problem.
Well, and I would imagine that some of those just foundational health outcomes, whether it be basic vision care or access to clean water or any of those things that you guys started out taking care of, really make a major difference in a person's ability to better their life and in their quality of living. How much have you noticed that just that little bit of extra impact or that extra vision care has had an impact on people's lives?
The most profound thing about vision care is that not only is it not only is it integral to your education, it's integral to the work that you can do to earn a living. It's also very much it's very much part of creating healthy interface with other people. It's how you create relationships. When you can't see someone's facial expressions at 5 feet, it's really hard to understand what's going on. So one of the things that I've noticed most when we're in clinic and we're dispensing glasses is that we could easily have a patient who can't see well, so their world is really small. They spend their body is hunched, they look down, and the minute we put on glasses that serve their prescription, their chin comes up, their gaze goes out, their shoulders go back, and they present a completely different persona because of their ability to be wary of their surroundings and see people differently.
That must be so encouraging to see
It
that
is really
change
encouraging.
in that
Yeah.
minute, just that very second to second change. I bet that's
It
wonderful.
is second to second, a complete transformation in like 20 to 30 seconds. It's amazing.
Oh, I bet that's incredible. So
It is.
I would imagine that vision care, especially in more rural communities or underserved communities, that there's some pretty significant logistical challenges because obviously I'm not a doctor, but I imagine that there's a lot more equipment that goes into vision care than just your general wellness check. And tell me a little bit about how you guys are approaching that with bringing that equipment in or handling prescription filling in places like Haiti or Peru.
Well, we do travel with a lot of equipment, a lot of Pelican cases. We typically ask people who are traveling with us, who are helping, to each carry their bag, check it on, and then carry 2 bags for us. So we go with, if you've been to the doctor, to the eye doctor, and you've had that pre-exam where they test for all sorts of things. They test your visual acuity, they test your peripheral vision, they test whether they look for indications for glaucoma via pressures. We bring all that with us, so it's a lot of baggage.
I bet. So is that one of the biggest challenges that you guys face is the logistics of getting that equipment to the location that you're trying to serve? What are some of the other major challenges that your organization faces?
Certainly that kind of transport, especially overseas, is complicated. And we were taking that same approach locally. We were packing up our vehicles and traveling to People's Health Clinic in Park City or local schools or down in Moab. And finally we said, this needs to stop. If we're going to create something sustainable, it can't be us moving things around. So we've opened a permanent vision clinic at the Moab Free Health Clinic, where we serve 4 surrounding counties. And we've also opened one up in Park City. So when we identified that need to our community members really stood up and helped us to purchase permanent equipment for each of those clinics. Internationally, we're doing the same sort of thing. We're opening up a permanent vision center in Uganda. We're groundbreaking on that in November. And our other communities that we serve, Mexico, Guatemala, and hopefully this year we're going to also begin partnering with another organization and serve in Tanzania. We're bit by bit doing that too, but of course it's a little bit more complicated internationally because there's international medical things that need to be contended with and politics and things like that. But for the most part, what we need is, what we search for are great partnering organizations that are in country. And we look for financial supporters, both here in the United States, where we have certainly we have vision care shortages here, but we have a greater number of financial resources here. So we look here and we look internationally for financial support to get this work done.
So with the groundbreaking of these new facilities, what were some of the major hurdles or challenges that you guys had to overcome in order to put a physical footprint on the ground, something that's a little bit more permanent?
I think that the first thing is required is a level of trust with the people that we are working with in international organizations, and actually domestically too. When we begin serving a community, we start with mostly just bringing everything we need, all of the glasses, ask for no local support, because we want to build a relationship so that there's an understanding that we're not just here to stop by, drop off glasses and leave, but that we want to build a community that can be self-supportive.
Those first trust building steps I can see being
trust building is where it
critically
starts.
important.
Yep. Especially in international settings. And what's beautiful is, for example, we went to Mexico for the first time. Well, to a specific place in Mexico for the first time, and we brought doctors, but we also worked with doctors locally. And the second time we arrived, it was so nice because there had already been relationships built and a camaraderie and a singular purpose that we all joined together. And via that, one of a local MD said that he would donate free cataract surgery to some of the people that we were identified. So as long as we can keep building, I think that it puts tendrils out into the local community so that there's a drive and motivation and infrastructure for deeper and more profound life-changing vision care.
Well, and I imagine working with the local doctors is a great way to kind of speed up that trust building and that relationship building process, because they're already rooted in the community and already have some of that trust. But to change topics just a little bit, let me ask you a little bit about your support network. It is Park City Gives, or Live Give Park City right now, and I'm sure you guys are looking for a little bit of extra help. So if there's any way that our viewers can reach out and either help Hope Alliance or just, volunteer, donate, is there any way people can get involved and help support your wonderful organization?
Yes, absolutely. You're right. It's Live PC, Give PC is coming up on November 3rd. Hope Alliance, of course, is participating in that. We have a goal we have a goal of $40,000. We're hoping to reach that goal. But we also need help in other ways too. We have a group of volunteers who are really dedicated, who work with us at the People's Health Clinic. So for example, Friday, we're having a vision clinic there. And if you're interested in helping us, we can train you to do all the pre-exam sort of work. And it's really a wonderful feeling to help your own community members, for community members to help community members.
And if anybody is looking for more information, the website is hopealliance.org, correct?
That's right. It's thehopealliance.org.
Thank you. Thehopealliance.org.
Yep.
Diane Bernhard, thank you so much for joining us, and make sure to check out thehopealliance.org for a little bit more information. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back to the show. Our elderly populations can often be some of our most vulnerable, especially to communicable diseases. And Kimberly Perot had the fantastic opportunity to talk to the local organization Vaccines for the Elderly about what they're doing to help keep our elders protected. Let's take a look.
While the holiday season prompts travel, gatherings with family and friends, and attending large events, COVID-19 cases are again on the rise as we enter the winter months, and many are wondering how to navigate the holiday season. Vaccines and now boosters are helping to bring some normalcy to this holiday season, but variants of concern continue to spark new conversations among health officials, especially with the emergence of the Omicron variant. Here to help us sort out these questions and discuss the benefit of booster shots is Dr. Paul Burton, Chief Medical Officer at Moderna. Dr. Burton, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Christine.
What do we now know about the Omicron variant and if it's more contagious?
Yeah, so Christine, look, we found out about Omicron, I guess, about a month ago at Thanksgiving. We didn't know much about it then. We do know more now. I think there's three key things that we found out. The first is that it is highly transmissible. You know, it exploded in South Africa. There are 25,000 cases a day now, compared to about 200, 250 cases a day when we first found it. We see the same thing in Denmark, 88,000 cases a day now in the UK. So it's definitely on the rise throughout Europe, and it's coming here to the US. So it's highly transmissible. People who get Delta typically do not get reinfected with Delta. That's not the case with Omicron. It has no regard, no respect for that. It will reinfect people, even if they've had COVID in the past. So we know those two facts. And the big question that comes up frequently is how severe is Omicron? It's certainly killing fewer people than died with Delta. So thankfully, you know, that's very reassuring. But the hospitalization rate that we see in, for example, Denmark with Delta is about the same rate, just under 1%, as we're seeing with Omicron. So I think, Christine, it's transmissible, it can reinfect, and it's severe. So we don't need to panic, but we've got to take it seriously.
What do we also know so far about booster protection in regards to Omicron?
So the data that's come out from around the world, certainly with the Moderna vaccine as well, is that boosting will increase your circulating antibody levels against COVID and against Omicron. It does have some escape. All the mutations that it has mean that the antibodies that we make after vaccination are not quite as effective against Omicron as they are, say, against Delta. But when you get boosted, those antibody levels go up and people will be protected. So the message right now is know your facts, and there's a great website, makeityourvaccine.com. Get vaccinated if you're on the fence, and get boosted. And I know that, you know, in Utah, about 25% of the population's been boosted now, so that's great, but, you know, there's still more room to go, so don't let our guard down now.
What is your recommendation for booster shots with upcoming holiday travel?
Yeah, so I think there's two big buckets of things we can still all do. We've done it for 2 years. As I say, don't let your guard down. Keep hand washing, wearing a mask, and some social distancing. That's important. The second thing that is key is to then get vaccinated. If you're on the fence, these are highly effective and very safe vaccines. Get vaccinated. And if you're now eligible, everybody over 18 is, get boosted.
What key takeaway do you want the audience to remember to protect themselves during holiday gatherings?
Look, I think, you know, we're a year out tomorrow from the 1-year anniversary of the authorization of the Moderna vaccine. And in that time, vaccines as a whole have saved 1 million lives and prevented 10 million hospitalizations. They're safe, they're highly effective, and those, coupled with some simple measures, are going to be what will get us through this pandemic. We can do it as a country, we can do it as a world. Stay safe, keep your guard up, get vaccinated, get boosted, and enjoy the holidays.
What are the latest updates from Moderna in its quest to defeat the pandemic?
So we have 2 types of booster dose available right now, the 50 microgram dose, which most of us get, 100 micrograms for the immunocompromised. So we can tailor the dose to the individual. And then we're working on an Omicron-specific vaccine. We announced that at Thanksgiving, and those data will come out early next year. So we're leaders in this field of mRNA technology and vaccines, and we're absolutely committed to continuing to do our full part to help end this pandemic.
And where do you recommend we find more information about our conversation today?
So I think there are many great websites. One that I like in particular is makeityourvaccine.com. There you can get good information, find out where you can get vaccinated and boosted. It's a good resource.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Burton, for this important information about COVID-19, new variants, and also with holiday travel. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Christine.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Thanks for joining us. So the University of Utah women's basketball won their first share of the regular season Pac-12 conference title last year. Now they enter a new season as the preseason favorite in the conference, which places a target on their back. Claiming a share of the Pac-12 regular season title for the first time shows Utah women's basketball is headed in the right direction. Head coach Lynn Roberts says she now knows the recipe for success.
It just comes down to the right people. So I've got an incredible staff that makes me look good, and we have done a good job recruiting kids that fit our program and our university and our community. And I don't think there's any secret sauce other than get the right people around you and work your tail off.
Roberts enters her 9th year at the helm of the Utes women's basketball program, where her success in the Pac-12 is recent. Confidence is building among her players after back-to-back winning seasons within the conference, and they're still hungry for more.
Last year we had a great season, and we, I think, in a way proved ourselves. You know, we're not satisfied and we're just hungry to win. So it's always going to be, that's always going to be in the back of our mind, I think. And, you know, it's a good mentality to have because, you know, you're never satisfied. You're always getting better.
The program is used to being the hunter, but now they'll enter a season as the hunted. Despite the difference, Roberts says the team's mentality will remain the same.
I think what makes us great is that we still have so much to prove. I think that's what our team's about. We're very kind of blue collar, that we're great because of the sum of the parts. And that's not going to change.
The Utes entered the 2023-24 season ranked 5th in the AP Top 25. They'll match up with 6 preseason ranked teams over the course of the 2023-24 year. The University of Utah women's basketball program plays their first game November 6th in Salt Lake City against South Carolina State, and this will be our first chance to get a glance of what this team is made of entering a new season. Stick with us, we'll be right back.
That's all the time we have for this Sunday edition of Wasatch Weekends. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow where we're going to be talking to actor, singer, songwriter Raquel Castro, as well as check in with a fantastic local business. Until then, I'm your host, Ben Roof. This is Wasatch Weekends, and we will see you tomorrow. Sweet.